Hi again. Anunnaki, Part 2. Mythology. Although certain deities are described as members of the Anunnaki, no complete list of the names of all the Anunnaki has survived, and they are usually only referred to as a cohesive group in literary texts. Furthermore, Sumerian texts describe the Anunnaki inconsistently and do not agree on how many Anunnaki there were, or what their divine function was. Originally, the Anunnaki appear to have been heavenly deities with immense powers. In the poem Enki and the World Order, the Anunnaki do homage to Enki, sing hymns of praise in his honor, and take up their dwellings among the people of Sumer. The same composition twice states that the Anunnaki decree the fates of mankind. Virtually every major deity in the Sumerian pantheon was regarded as the patron of a specific city and was expected to protect that city's interests. The deity was believed to permanently reside within that city's temple. One text mentions as many as 50 Anunnaki associated with the city of Eridu in Inanna's descent into the Netherworld. There are only 7 Anunnaki, who reside within the Underworld and serve as judges. Inanna stands trial before them for her attempt to take over the Underworld. They deem her guilty of hubris and condemn her to death. Major deities in Sumerian mythology were associated with specific celestial bodies. Inanna was believed to be the planet Venus. Utu was believed to be the sun. Nanna was the moon. A was identified with all the stars of the equatorial sky, Enlil with those of the northern sky, and Enki with those of the southern sky. The path of Enlil's celestial orbit was a continuous, symmetrical circle around the north celestial pole, but those of An and Enki were believed to intersect at various points. Akkadian, Babylonian, and Assyrian. Babylonian representation of the national god Marduk, who the Babylonians and Assyrians envisioned as a prominent member of the Anunnaki. Akkadian texts of the 2nd millennium BC follow similar portrayals of the Anunnaki from Inanna's descent into the Netherworld, depicting them as chthonic underworld deities. In an abbreviated Akkadian version of Inanna's descent written in the early 2nd millennium, Ereshkigal, the queen of the underworld, comments that she drank water with the Anunnaki. Later in the same poem, Ereshkigal orders her servant Nimtar to fetch the Anunnaki from Megalgina, to decorate the threshold steps with coral, and to seat them on golden thrones. During the Old Babylonian period, circa 1830 BC, circa 1531 BC, a new set of deities known as the Igigi are introduced. The relationship between the Anunnaki and the Igigi is unclear. On some occasions, the categories appear to be used synonymously, but in other writings, such as the poem of Vera, there is a clear distinction between the two. In the late Akkadian Atrahasis epic, the Igigi are the 6th generation of the gods who are forced to perform labor for the Anunnaki. After 40 days, the Igigi rebel and the god Enki, one of the Anunnaki, creates humans to replace them. From the Middle Babylonian period, circa 1592, 1155 BC, onward, the name Anunnaki was applied generally to the deities of the underworld, whereas the name Igigi was applied to the heavenly deities. During this period, the underworld deities Damkina, Nergal, and Madanu are listed as the most powerful among the Anunnaki, alongside Marduk, the national god of ancient Babylon. In the standard Akkadian epic of Gilgamesh, circa 1200 BC, Utnapishtim, the immortal survivor of the Great Flood, describes the Anunnaki as 7 judges of the underworld, who set the land aflame as the storm approaches. Later, when the flood comes, Ishtar, the East Semitic equivalent to Inanna, and the Anunnaki mourn over the destruction of humanity. In the Babylonian Enuma Elish, Marduk assigns the Anunnaki their positions. A late Babylonian version of the epic mentions 600 Anunnaki of the underworld, but only 300 Anunnaki of heaven, indicating the existence of a complex underworld cosmology. In gratitude, the Anunnaki, the great gods, built Esagila, a splendid temple dedicated to Marduk, Ea, and Enlil. In the 8th century BC poem of Era, the Anunnaki are described as the brothers of the god Nergal and are depicted as antagonistic towards humanity. A badly damaged text from the Neo-Assyrian period, 911, 612 BC, describes Marduk leading his army of Anunnaki into the sacred city of Nippur and causing a disturbance. The disturbance causes a flood, which forces the resident gods of Nippur to take shelter in the Eshumsha temple to Ninurta. Enlil is enraged at Marduk's transgression and orders the gods of Eshumsha to take Marduk and the other Anunnaki as prisoners. The Anunnaki are captured, but Marduk appoints his frontrunner Mushtarabam to lead a revolt against the gods of Eshumsha and sends his messenger Nirtagmil to alert Nabu, the god of literacy. When the Eshumsha gods hear Nabu speak, they come out of their temple to search for him. Marduk defeats the Eshumsha gods and takes 360 of them as prisoners of war, including Enlil himself. Enlil protests that the Eshumsha gods are innocent, so Marduk puts them on trial before the Anunnaki. The text ends with a warning from Demkiana, another name for Ninkarasag, to the gods and to humanity, pleading them not to repeat the war between the Anunnaki and the gods of Eshumsha. The end of Part 2. Thank you.